Hey everyone, I'm Clue. Welcome back to some more Flesh and Blood. So we're building another deck. We're tackling Maxx Nitro. Now, I do have it set up in Blitz, right? Because I find it easier to work with 40 cards, but we will do this for Classic Constructed, I think, right? I think comboing off in Classic Constructed is a little bit easier, because obviously the games last a bit longer. You have more HP to sort of throw away, right, while you're searching for the right pieces. And altogether, we're going after Nitro Mechanoid, which, in my opinion, is substantially easier to get off than Singularity. For a few different reasons, right? One, we're in Maxx, we have an inbuilt way to make our main resource, which is the hyperdrivers. Two, we can run multiple copies of Nitro, meaning that if we boost it away, right, we have 3 chances. If we boost all 3, then obviously we can't go into Nitro, but if we don't, we still can. And yeah, altogether, right, the payoff you get for this versus its ease to summon, so to speak, seems substantially better than Singularity to me. But enough griping about that, right? We have a few decisions to sort of think about. One is whether or not we want to run Evos. So right now we just have the Cogwork set and we can just use their one-offs, right? And not actually try and go for any of the Evos. The Breaker set is obviously the big one. But here's the thing. This and the Hyper X3, right, work great in Maxx. If you're just doing normal things with Maxx, you definitely want to run them. But because we want to keep the hyperdrivers on board so that we can go into Nitro, right, all of these are sort of counterproductive. We don't want our banished hyperdrivers to go under Hyper X3, right? We want some way to get them in play. I'm pretty sure, what card is it? There is one that allows us to play them. I don't think it's any of these, right? When banished, no, when banished. I don't think I have them, surprisingly. If we type in hyperdriver, there should be a few different cards that allow us to put one in, right? Not control. Is it gas up? Yeah, so you may put a hyperdriver from your banish zone into the arena. So that's the big one. So that allows us to, essentially, we can, pitch cycle gas up, probably run the yellow or blue, and then once we have enough hyperdrivers in our banish zone, we can go into gas up. But I do understand the rationale for hyperdriver, right? The draw is good. You can block with it still, it doesn't get destroyed, right? So you can just keep it on board. And then eventually you can turn it into Nitro. Because the big thing is, obviously, you don't want equipment that you get used up, because then it's counterproductive again, because again, if Nitro goes, can't summon Nitro. If equipment goes, can't summon Nitro. If a weapon goes, is there a way to destroy weapons? I don't think there is. You can't go into Nitro. You can run Fabricate or anything like that and take some of the other high tempo mechanologist gear to start off, right? The Visonic goggles, the Achilles accelerators, and the Teklo Foundry art. The Teklo Foundry art, right, and just trying to get hyperdrivers into the boost zone, or even go for boosting, obviously, Big Bertha, is a decent concept, right? I think you probably run that regardless, the Teklo Foundry core, right? Because its value over the length of the game is just going to be substantially better than trying to go for the Evos, where you have to, set them up and then get the payoff. But yeah, we will start crafting, I think. So I'll move over to Classic Constructed. I'll get the skeleton of the deck going, and we'll do a bit more discussion before we jump into some games. The other thing to sort of just touch on is the Blessing of Ingenuity, right? So this is probably the big one. At the start of your turn, destroy the Blessing, then put 3 hyperdrivers from your graveyard and or banish zone into the arena. So this would be super strong, right, if they're not going under hyper, right? So you have the ones you get to play and eventually end up in the graveyard, and also X banished. And basically the play is just Blessing of Ingenuity into Nitro. So that's 5, right? So you have 2 cards to pitch, roughly. You've got the Teklo core if you can go into something else, right? I think that's a decent concept. Plus, if the hyperdrivers are on field, you can boost and get the extra resources from that. So in all honesty, you could probably go Blessing, Nitro, and then just have a card mediating through boost to also then go into the Foundry card or something like that. So that is worth thinking about. It's just whether or not, how big aura destruction is at the moment, which I don't think it actually is from everything I've seen. I think arsenal destruction is still the main thing, and we're sort of shifting towards equipment destruction, but aura is still somewhat untouched. Anyway, let me start working on the Classic Constructed version of the deck. Well, if this isn't the ideal setup, I don't know what is, right? So we have a massive hyperdrivers here. We have Nitro in our hand. We have 2 system resets. And to kick it off, we have a 0-cost boost card. So we are going to lose a few hyperdrivers, but does that really matter? No, it shouldn't. We lose 3 and we lose 1. But then we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? For cranking. So we start off, we play Expedite, right? We boost it. We get a ton of resources. We still have our counters. Doesn't matter what we boost. Pass. We pass. Doesn't matter if it hits or not. Right, and this is where we go crazy. So I can spend up to 6, right? Because we need 4 for Construct Mechanoid. We can get a bit more off of the Techlo Foundry cards, right? So we start off by doing that. Pass, doubles to 11. We need 4. Hate doing math. So we can go down to 7. How many do we have on board? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we play System Reset for 6. Pass, we obviously reset every single hyperdriver. We then crank every single hyperdriver. I broke it. It doesn't know what to do because of the... You know what I think the bug is? It's not the hyperdrivers and crank, right? Because I've cranked a lot and they've fixed the cap, because it used to be 3 when we first tried the deck. The max AP we get to was 3. It doesn't know what to do with the token hyperdrivers, right? Which is a bit unfortunate because I can't really show this off. Is there a way? If I boost again, no, it ruins the combo. It's fine, right? We'll do this. We just won't reset that one. So we'll spend 5 and hopefully this should work. All right, so we spend 5. We do every hyperdriver but the token one. Right, should work. Yeah, so it doesn't know what to do with banishing a token and then bringing a token back. So I guess... look at that. It's back to 3. That has to do with the stack, surely. Right, so we should be... No, is that right? 4? No, that's right. Never mind. Sorry. Okay, then we can system reset again. We need to keep 4, so I can keep 2. Cool, so we can do 4, which is perfect, right? How did we lose one? Didn't we have 5? Do we have a blue one with only 1? We must have had a blue one with only 1. Anyway, so we crank for... How much did I say? God. 6. Need to go down to... We crank for 4. Reset for 4. System reset for 4. Not the token. All of these. Done. Yes, we want to crank, 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 crank. No. Okay, so it's still going a bit weird with the AP, right? Anyway, then we can play Nitro. We probably want to do the legs first anyway. No, because then we would have been off one. Okay, and after all that, we should have a lot more, I'm pretty sure. But we'll leave be. Definitely get rid of the token. Definitely get rid of the yellow and the red. Okay, so we have 8 cards under Nitro. We have 4 AP, which is fine. So we can swing 4 times back to back, right? And that's basically the combo. You just slowly go through banishing all your gear. Pass, banish. Come on. No. I don't know what it wants from me. Oh. Okay. Talishare was not prepared, I don't think, for this combo. But yeah, so that's the basic gist of the concept. Right, you go into system reset, obviously not as insane. So, zero cost boost to trigger your hyperdrivers to gain resources, then system reset to gain the action points, and then Nitro to finish things off, to swing. I have no idea, was that 4? It was a lot of damage. Now, I don't think we're going to go for this in Class Constructed, even though technically we have a bigger length of time to get things off, right? I think trying to find all the combo pieces is pretty crap. All 3 of the Nitros were in the bottom 8 of the deck, right? So, again, combo really doesn't work in Flesh and Blood. Like, there's cool concepts, and if you're having some fun, sure, but if you're going to actually play competitively, never go for a combo. Always go for efficient plays. Right, and never bank on, something big and something fun, which is kind of sad to say a little bit, right? But still, it is extremely balanced towards the competitive scene. That's fine. I'm just someone who likes and enjoys combo plays. So if we had a little bit more search or a little bit more way to tutor and shuffle the deck and recycle and do what we need to do to smooth combos along to make them more efficient in relation to just normal play, that'd be great. Because really what you want to do with Maxx is obviously just hyperdrive boost, hyperdrive a heavy boost card, right? Because then you have the resources stacked up to now go into a big boost card and not just try and get through on board. Because another thing I was doing was once I had the hyperdrivers on board, I was basically just stalling, right? I was just blocking with cards from hand till I had all the cards I wanted, which is another thing you don't want to do because eventually your opponent will just outpace you. Anyway, we'll tweak it for Blitz, I think, right? And then we'll give it a go. We'll see how it fares. Probably going to be another few losses, but, you know, we'll have fun trying. Right, so here we are. Here's the deck. We have, for equipment, Banksy, the base head, base legs, and then the Galvanic Bender, obviously to power up Nitro. Attack like Foundry Heart, just because the resource generation and boosting is good, because our end game is essentially to get Hyperdrivers into our Banish Zone, to then go into our Blessings of Ingenuity, that I can't see. There we are. Right. So at the start of your turn, destroy it, and then you may put 2 Hyperdrivers from your graveyard and or Banish Zone into the arena. So super powerful effect, right? As long as it doesn't get destroyed, you can start with 2 Hyperdrivers, you can crank them, start with 2 action points, and all around, right? That's 2/3 of the way to Nitro. Chuck in your own passive ability, right? And there's the last one. So I think that's good enough. In terms of cards, I'm starting to learn, right? So the mentality and the breakpoints about blocking. So for instance, if the red or yellow version has 3, you might as well take the yellow, right? Because at 2, it doesn't really matter. Well, you might as well take the blue as well for all these cards thinking about it, because like Expedite. So for instance, this pressures your opponent into thinking, well, do they have something, right? So at the very least, it causes them to block with 1 card, right? Even if it was 3, they most likely still only block with 1 card. Although there is also the equipment breakpoint where most equipment is 1 or 2. So I think the yellow is probably better in that perspective, right? But if it's 3 damage, you might as well get more pitch out of it from my perspective. And then 4 is your big number push, right? If you attack with something with 4, it's most likely going to consume a card, equipment, or card in a card, which is what you want. Then we also have the Sentry set, right? It's good defensive. We play it from hand, block it slightly. Otherwise, we can play it. Hopefully, after we boost something, gain resources off of our Hyperdrivers. And then we have a defensive equipment on board to defend with, right? But then also, because it doesn't disappear, we have more cards to stick under Nitro. And of course, the big finisher is System Reset off of Hyperdrivers into Nitro. So you need Hyperdrivers on board. You then need Nitro, System Reset, and a card with boost, right? The idea being that you can then play a 0 card boost, right? So we have a few. We have Expedites, Data Link, and T-Bone, I think, is 0 cost. Right, so that should be good enough, hopefully. Might have to tweak it, might stick a few more in there. But yeah, so we play one of them, we trigger our Hyperdrivers, we gain the resources. The resources then allow us to play System Reset, to reset our Hyperdrivers, to crank them all, to gain the action points, to then go into Nitro, right? And then swing for all, you know, a few times with Nitro. Probably looking for maybe 3 swings, so generating 4 action points or something like that, right? If we stick with the legs, we can also burn a point to gain action points, right, without destroying the equipment. The head just allows us to shuffle a Mech Knowledge attack, so that's super good for getting one of those 0 cost attacks back into our deck. I was tempted to run some of the instant speed Evos, but I think they just sort of bog up the deck, right? The Breaker set obviously is the big one you want to play, but then you have to destroy the card under it, and that sort of goes against going into Nitro, right? 2 cards, at least Cogworks isn't destroyed, so is it necessary? I don't know, right? There's merit to it, and obviously, as we go, we'll probably need to tweak and refine the deck, but I think this is a decent starting point. So we'll play a game or 2 with this and see how it fares. Right, so first up is Bolton. So this should actually be an interesting matchup, because I believe we're both sort of slowish, right? Well, they're probably a bit quicker, because it's just take a round, charge up your soul, and then go for your big finisher. But it'll be interesting nonetheless. They do have the new Warband, and we have moderate start, right? Probably boost into just defensive. Take flight. Again, I hate these complicated matchups because I'm just not versed enough in the majority of heroes to be like, oh no, that's such a good start for them, or oh no, that's such a bad start. But let's see what they do. They are hitting us for 4. It's additional to you may charge your soul. Doesn't have go again. Okay, so I'm probably just gonna block with right? And we just, well, I mean, Crankshaft I can block with too. That's pretty much a redundant card at the moment. And you know, we'll stick out the base legs too. We'll fish for some better boost that we can sort of chain together. Right, +2, it's fine. Anything else? They do get an action point. And then if it hits, draw a card. Yeah, sure. Because I'm now going to overblock. No? Oh, it doesn't. Not that far. They're swinging with their sword for 3. Just do that. If this hits, create a courage token. Okay, so no courage token for them. Sticking their arsenal. What do we get? We get T-Bone. What has... That is destroy. That has destroy, that has no block, and that has destroy. Okay, so T-Bone is great in this matchup. Hydraulic Press is not needed at the moment, so probably going Data Link, pitching that into T-Bone or something like that. Or I guess finish off with Hydraulic. What do we start with? You know, we'll start with the High Speed Impact, I think. And we'll get rid of Data Link. Yes, we want to boost. Right, so we can either return or gain an action point. Right, and they want to block, otherwise we'll give Dominate. If we get the Dominate, we can go for Boost. If it doesn't, we can go for Hydraulic Press. Right, so we'll pitch T-Bone into the Teklo Foundry Heart, or they let us hit. Interesting. So we do get the damage, and they have to block with equipment. Is that a big enough payoff? I guess so, right? I still want to crank and hit, though, as well. We'll do that, Boost. T-Bone, that's fine. We're thinning out the deck. It's not that great of a payoff. We'll probably do the Teklo Foundry Hearts, right? Because, yeah, we just want to mill through our deck. I'm trying to think of what the correct plays with this is. Right, so Warband gets a token. I wish I had more T-Bones. I'm pretty sure we're only running yellow. It's the one matchup where we really want it. We can Teklo Foundry Hearts, which is good. We do banish Hype Driver, that's what we want to see. We will Maxx. We don't need the extra resources. Definitely crank it. And then we'll just swing with Banksy. I think that was pretty even trades, right? Oh, they got their big finisher. It's the only rationale I sort of have for them not really blocking, which is scary. Next turn is just Hyperdrivers, so just keep one yellow. We can block with Hydraulic Press and sell the Teklo Foundry Heart. Using the Warband, next time Juju attacks, you may charge your Hero Soul. If it's arrow, draw a card, so it's yellow. They're swinging for 3, right? But do they have a way to go again without the Courage token? Snapdragon Scalers is attack action card, so we should be fine just doing this, right? It hits, they still draw a card though. It's unfortunate. I mean, I could have chucked in the Foundry Heart as well. That was probably the bad thing to do, thinking about it. Oh, they get the Courage token, and they get the +2. Yeah, so overblocking would have mattered. I'd rather just go into the Hype Drivers, because then we're set up for Nitro as well, because we already have 3. And as long as I don't boost, if we, you know, luck into Nitro, we can go for it straight away. Ooh, 8's. 8 is dangerous, though. Right? We don't have any other way to generate resource. So, unless we pitch one Hype Driver into the other, right, to block. What do we want to do? Probably that. And we gotta defend. What is getting them the +1? Tax control of +1 while defended by attack action card. Okay, so that's what's doing it. It's fine. It'd be great if we had a blue, but we don't, so we're just playing one Hyperdriver. Don't need to crank it. We did get the Nitro. That's annoying. I should have gone for the play. Oh, the game was in our favor, and I ruined it. Okay, so that's going in Arsenal. We can block with one card, right? Or we can just try to swing through it and get the boost. Both of them 2 tokens, so it's fine. I feel like we should honestly just go for a stronger play. We just take the 3, right? Because it's not, oh, it is, if it hits draw a card. And Courage token is now their way to gain go again. Yeah, so this is bad. That'll be nice. What was the misplay? There. Out of curiosity. They didn't play Bolton? That was the misplay? Yeah. Okay. So that probably cost us the match. We can hang on there a little. I really want to, you know, boost into another Hyperdriver. Gain the resources. But that's swinging for 5, so we have to block with one of them. And they have the Courage tokens anyway to then go again. So, I mean, we could have, you know, been a bit dickish and gone for Nitro, got the combo off, but we'll do another, we'll find another match. So, I think I might just from now on, right? I am doing request undo, so this is probably a fair take, is it not? If you misplay, I'm not going to let anyone undo things. Because I think it builds better knowledge of the game, right? If you're given the ability to undo your mistake, the thing you forgot to play, then it's not really reinforcing it to you to learn not to do that. So I think it is a fair call, because there's been a few matchups like that where we've had a lot of people, right? They forget to do something, so they undo. And I think, in all honesty, I should just not allow it, right? Most of the time, if I make a mistake, I live with it. Because I think, yeah, it's just, in all honesty, the better way to learn, right? Is to learn from your mistakes, not undo it, and then you'll just make the same mistake down the line. Well, I'll see you for game 3. How much do you want to bet? We don't get to do anything, right? I mean, what do we even go for anything huge? Yes, we want to boost. They're just gonna start their instant chain. Let us see. They're blocking, interestingly. Well, I'm just helping them fish for the right cards, aren't I? Right, but then we can crankshaft, do the Tekla core, gain the 2 resources. Yes, we want to boost. Again, objective is to just get hype drivers on our play in the graveyard or banish zone. So we just want to mill through the deck. I mean, we're pressuring, which is nice. We can then go into Banksy, I believe, which is good, which is what we want. We go Nitro, pitch the hyper driver. One's on the bottom, which is going to suck, but it's fine. We have to crank so that we get the action point to swing, but then we get it back anyway. Because I'm assuming they've kept this card because it's something they want. No, they were smart. Interesting. Alright. Alright, I respect the plays. This might not actually be too bad of a game. We'll see. Either if we lose on this turn, right, we'll do another one. If it goes a bit longer, we'll just play it out. Obviously. We did get defensive, not that it really matters. And Moonshaw as well. I mean, was that 6? 6 for 2 is not horrible, but they are doing their insta things. Right? We don't have any arcane barrier, so I'm just gonna think, right? What can we do in the meantime? There's no point equipping the sentries in this matchup. We have return and we have action points. We'd want to try and get another hyper driver, but there is no way to because of the boost requirements of his ability. So this is kind of a dead hand. But if we could, then it would be 4 for Moonshot, right? But then we'd also have to pay 2, so that doesn't really work. Oh, they did not find the combo. That is interesting to me. Get this on board, we can crank it. Pitch one of the sentries, right? Because it doesn't matter which one you play. No, pitch the Moonshot. Stormstriders. Okay, they got the combo, right? Yeah, I just love the string of information. To be honest, I don't really understand. Well, I understand what's going on. I just can't be bothered paying attention to it. Is that 10 yet? Did they do 10? No, they did 6. Are they just getting bad luck, right, on what plays they're getting? Is that fun? Well, you know what? My theory is, my rationale, they have to overlap with Yu-Gi-Oh players, right? Because I know Yu-Gi-Oh is 1 to 2 turns. Anything longer than that is a bad game. But just the lack of interaction. Because this is not like Yu-Gi-Oh! There's no hand traps. There's no, counter to instant just yet. It's just, does it feel rewarding? It's playing for 3 minutes just to do this every time. Doesn't get repetitive, doesn't get annoying. What's the goal? What's the objective? We'll find one more game, right? Because I hate Wizard. Alright, Ira. Death by 1,000 cuts. They're going first. Alright, so we just block. Oh, I also don't think we ever touched on the Hyper Scrapper, Hyper Moonshot Driver, blah 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 combo, right? They don't really combo too well, in all honesty. I'm pretty sure I should just cut them and run probably another set of 0, probably another set T-Bone, and then just another big payoff boost card, right? Because I think just the scrap cards that we do have is more than enough to get the hype drivers. And the Blessing of Integrity? No, Ingenuity. Anyway, it doesn't matter if they're in the graveyard or banished, so boosting or, consuming them is fine. Well, I'm just going to block with Equipment. Right. I should think about what we want to get out of our hand, but I kind of like all this. We have the blue to pitch, plus the tech load makes it 4, and then we have 3 0-cost boost cards to play. So I don't actually mind the starting setup. Do we just take the damage, then try to clap back? We'll block with the Teklo Heart, even though they still get +1. But then we'll try to, go for our turn. So the idea is to play all 3, use this to then pay for Maxx and Banksy, right? So what do we want to do first? Probably Data Link is the fine start. Boost. Hyper Scrapper, it's fine. Dead card. So have Action Point, Shuffle back. It's not too useful just yet. Are they going to hold their hand? It's just going to be a slugfest. No, they are going to block. Cool. Into T-Bone and then Expedite, I think is the correct move. Right, we don't need the extra resources. That's why I'm not playing Maxx first to get the Hype Driver, because I'd rather not burn it. And then we want to play Expedite last, so it sort of makes them think, oh, do we have an item? And therefore they have to block. Blade Break, Blade Break, Blade Break, Battle Worn. Okay, so the leg slot is what plays around that. Okay, and then, just Expedite. That way we don't reveal our hand off the Teklo. So trying to bait them into thinking this is an item that we want to get on field. See if they fall for it. Kinda. We've cut down their hand, surprisingly. What an ambush. Ah, no, bad. That's from the TCG. I've yet to open it, so that's new to me. Anyway, so Expedite gets blocked, that's fine. We'll just do the Foundry anyway, to pitch it. Plus... That's us 4. One of the Blessings got banished. That's sort of bad. Hyperdriver. Yes, we want to Crank. And then Banksy. I was also thinking, because we had the resource, we could go with the Cogworks. But I don't know if we want to save the Steam counter. They're not defending, so we get the counter back anyway. Okay. Have another Expedite. We have some block. So it's probably just Expedite into the Hyperdriver or Expedite into a normal setup off of blue. That's probably fine in its own way, right? We might be able to get the Scrap Harvester off as well. I count the resources probably. We're blocking for 1. Should be a pretty small turn for them, I think. Right? Just another Crouching Tiger for 3. We can block with the legs. It's not quite enough. Expedite into Hyperdriver is more than enough resources. Plus then we have the Teklo Foundry Hearts. Just thinking if we can play this as well. I think we should be able to. I haven't done the mental math properly, but I think we should be able to play all 3. Although if the Expedite hits, we're fine with that as well. Right, because then we can put it into field, and it's okay-ish. We can then pitch the Scrap Harvester to play both of these. Another 1. How many do they have, by the way? Draw a card, something. I mean, they could come back if they played. What's the one that allows you to draw? Right? No, but then they don't have the resources. So unless they go 0 cost, they're not at the Fair and Dust Spring Tunic yet. We really wanted another T-Bone. T-Bone would have been great. I think I should cut the Hyper Scrapper and Moonshot, and then go for another set of T-bones, probably all the T-bones, because they are really useful in matchups. Nice long chain for them. Okay, so we want to expedite. Want to boost it. We get the resource. Pass. We can go into the action point or that. That's fine. Let's see if they block. They're not going to block. Do you have to? No, it's you may. What line is better? We go up to 2. We can pitch that into that, and then that pays for Maxx. So we don't get Banksy, which is fine, because then we don't have to crank. So I don't want to put it into play. I'd rather go for the Scrap Harvester to continue pressuring damage. But they must have some sort of combo. Why can't I? I can pass. Good. Right. So that's that. We then need to do Maxx first. No, we do the Techlo Heart first. Pass. Moonshot Jumpstart doesn't really help us. Into Maxx. That's the second Hyperdriver. We do want to crank. Could play the third one and swing, but I think Scrap Harvester is a bit better, right? Even though we can't scrap anything, it's still just pressuring for 5 is a bit better. Oh, we can scrap. That's good. Shouldn't have procced. I did. Good. Doesn't really matter which one we put on. Okay. 5, so they are blocking. So the new Ira is just similar to Benji, which looks cool. We'd put instead, it ceases to exist. Pretty fair, pretty even at the moment. 2 on field, we can create the third one. So if we draw into Nitro, it's looking good. We didn't draw into Nitro though. We have the crankshaft, scraps, I don't think we have anything else to scrap, no. They got Art of War, so buff and draw would be my picks, right? Surely. Would have been good last turn with all the tigers, crouching tigers. They also have the resources for Friend of Spring Training. So this is their big, heavy hitting turn. So you kind of want to just turtle, keep something so that we can play the other Hyperdriver. Is probably the correct thing to do, right? We do have a boost card, but it costs 2, so we could go into Heart. Boost. We pitch 2, we still need something else. This one is not scary, so that can hit. It's the ones that come after. So they didn't pick +1, did they? They picked Go Again, maybe? Crouching Tiger, so it just says +1. So yeah, I think we're keeping the crankshaft just in case, because we don't have any scrap anyway. I'm assuming they'll have an attack reaction. So I was tempted to overblock. I like being very defensive, but no, they don't. But they'll have something else now, surely. We just have to play around their rhythm. There we go. So it's now 8. Block for 3, and then just stick the Hyperdriver into our arsenal, I think. But I think that is probably the turning point, and they now have the advantage. Because we can't play the Hyperdriver. They have an instant, that's interesting. So I'd like to keep the data link so that we can get the resources and the high-speed impact. Right, because then we get the resource from that, we can go into the Techlo Heart and then just into high speed. Well, technically you want to play high speed first, and we can probably end up playing the Hyperdrive as well. So we get 2 resources, that brings it to 3, that brings it back down to 2. It's not a great way. Yeah, so problem is now, right, I can block. Do I need to block both? I'm going to overblock. Because either way, if they get stuff off, they're going to win this turn anyway. So I think I just need to overblock. Yeah, 5. And then 2 from the Crouching Tiger. It's annoying. Do they have a way for the Crouching Tiger? I mean, we can still block with high-speed impact. Do we go to the 1? There's the 4, so we'd have to fully block again. which just puts us at such a bad position. Yeah, because now we can't do anything, and they're just gonna do the same thing again. We got the Nitro though, right? And we had the hyperdriver, so we couldn't get it on field unless, well, if we boosted first, it still costs 1, but we have to block. I feel like I should take the Evos just to play more defensively, right? Because I do like the extra 1 from the tech load, but it's not super impactful. I mean, they're just going to whittle us down because, well, we can block at best 4 things, and we're in 1 HP. We'll try our best. Crouching Tiger? No. So that was my bad. I should have kept the boost card. We'll see if we can go into Nitro next turn. I doubt we survive. It doesn't look like they have. And we get the system reset too. It's annoying. Do we have a 0 cost? We have a 1 cost, which is kind of close enough. We have the draw a card as well. I mean, this would have been the perfect turn into it, in all honesty. But we're on 1 HP, we can't block anything, right? Because ideally, we'd want to med X, no, high octane med X off of Moonshot, right? Generate some from the boost, system reset into Nitro, something like that. Oh well, this is the final straw, right? It has to slip through anyway. Do I prolong the inevitable? I really shouldn't. Because that was 2 cards. So if they just have enough Crouching Tigers. Yeah, we're just turtling, so I'm not going to block. Game at that point. Shame too, because again, that was a great hand to go into it if I just had the HP to survive the turn. Right, because then we also would have had the action points to swing with Nitro, and against Benji, against Ira, it would have just tilted in our favor. It was basically who could pop off first, and we were just 1 turn too slow. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. We'll obviously continue to refine it, and we'll chuck it in the rotation. So starting next week, we'll probably set up some objectives maybe for the combo decks, right? So play them till we get X, and then we'll move on to the next deck or something like that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. See ya.